Okay, now we're going to identify the parts of expression and simplify algebraic expressions and then translate. So you have to identify all of the parts of this problem. So it's asking you how many terms are there, how many like terms are there, how many what are the coefficients? I should say, what are the terms, what are the like terms, what are coefficients, and what are constants? So here's your problem. The first thing I would do is go through and I would add opposite on each one of these. So I'm going to write this down first. I would definitely, because you're going to make a mistake if you don't, go plus negative like that. Once you do that, now you can start to identify parts. First of all, when a variable is by itself, it's not really by itself. There's always a 1 there. So terms are separated by addition signs. So this is a term, this is a term, this is a term, and this is a term. So in this case, there are 3 terms: 4x, negative 1x, 2y, and negative 3. Like terms, what I usually do is I'll put clues on the top. I'll say, okay, this is a variable x, this is a variable x, this is a variable y, and this is a constant right there. So you can see what your like terms are. So in this case, your like terms are going to be 4x and negative 1x. Coefficients are the numerical value before the variable. So your coefficient is here, here, and here. This doesn't have a variable, so it's not a coefficient. So in this case, your coefficients would be 4, negative 1, and 2. And lastly, the constant. The constant is just the number that doesn't have a variable to make it vary. So it's right here. It's the number that has no variable by it. So the constant in this case is negative 3. So it's pretty easy to be able to identify those parts. Just make sure you understand, what is a like term. I would put clues on top. Coefficients don't include the variable. They're the number next to the variable. And the constant is without the variable. So you through it. There you go. So do it again. I would go plus negative right here first. And I would say, how many terms do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the like terms? This is variable x, variable y. So your like terms are 3y and negative 2y. Your coefficients are the numerical value in front of the variables. And your constant is the number that has no variable by it. Simplify. Okay, so here you have 5x plus 4x. In the beginning, I highly recommend you use clues. This is an easy problem, but you can see they're from the same family. When you put variable x and variable x, same family. So you just simply combine like terms with addition, because that's what it says to do, and you get 9x, and that's it. So I have 8n plus 4 plus 4n. You have variable n, constant, variable n. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something else. I really like stacking, especially when you get to algebra, when you understand how to do different systems of equations. Stacking is the smartest thing for you to do. So you see your like terms, and I always stack what I have more of on top. So then I'm done with this right here. I go like this, and I add, and I get 12n plus 4. Now some people might say, well, shouldn't it be n squared? No, the only time you can square something is if you're multiplying something. So if it was n times n, it would be n squared. But if it was n plus n, it would be 2n. because it's just you're adding this coefficient to this coefficient. Remembering the variables don't stand alone. There's always a coefficient of 1 next to them, okay? So make sure you pay attention and notice the difference between multiplication versus addition and how you combine like terms. So I have plus, negative, whatever I have more of, I'm going to put on top. So I have negative 5x here and 4 here. Draw your line. 6 plus negative 5 is just x. Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. So you would say x minus 3, just like that. So remember your integer rules from chapter 2. Different signs subtract. Take the sign of what you have more of. Ooh, okay, so let's read it. We really should have been reading them all to begin with. Negative y plus 2 times the quantity of x plus 3y's. Notice I said times the quantity. That means there's a distributive property here. So here's what I want to do. I want to set everything up first. Remember, for every one thing inside, you have 2 lines. The leader is the 2. Then it's being distributed to the x times x, plus the leader is the 2, distributed to the 3y. Like that. So then you have negative 1y plus 2x plus 6y. Then I can go variable y, variable x, and variable y. And I can see who's from the same family. I'm going to stack the negative 1y over here, draw my line, and I have 2x plus 5. So the idea behind this is what I keep telling you. In math, we always want to try to make things look simpler than they are. We started off with this problem. Did not look simple, looked actually kind of scary. Now I can say that this problem is the same thing as this problem. We made it look a lot simpler by doing the distributive property and combining like terms. So then try each one of these. You can pause the tape right here. I'm going to show you the answers. Variable A, just put them together. Variable X goes with variable X, put those together. Make sure you do plus negative, don't forget the 1 right here because you need it. There you go. This one has the distributive property, plus line, plus line, has subtraction, 3 times C plus 3 times negative 2B. And put them all together. You and a friend worked in the school store last week. You worked 4 hours more than your friend. Write an expression in simplest form that represents the total number of hours you both worked. So whenever you have a problem like this, it's smart to write down who you're talking about. You're talking about you, and you're talking about your friend. Okay? In the end, you want to know the total hours you both worked. So it's going to be you plus your friend. Okay? So let's figure out what we know. You worked 4 hours more than your friend. Well, how much did your friend work? You don't know. But you know that you worked 4 hours more than your friend. So together, so put them together, 1 and 1 makes 2x plus 4. That's you plus your friend. I was just trying to figure out Whoa, no, we don't want that. Interesting, it won't let me have a pen back or an arrow. Arrow options, they're there. Oh. There we go. They do it the hard way. You and a friend work in the library. So there's you and your friend again. You went to, your friend borrowed 3 more books than you did. So in this case, I don't know what you got, but I know that your friend got 3 more than you. Put those 2 together. You get 2x plus 3. Done. And that's the end of 3.2.